In this video, I want to talk more on one interesting aspect of the life of people who are in the evil, who are in the dark side, who refuse to go towards the good, the bright, the positive, the moral, and all those things. As people who choose morality, truth, growth, move forward in life, even if it is in a tiniest possible way. Sometimes the moving forward is happening on a soul and spirit level first, before it could even show up in the physical world. But the growth is there. As long as they don't remain stuck and stagnant, as long as they don't choose the low level behaviors, but actively making choices to be better and elevate themselves and work on themselves and make better choices. Better in the sense something that uplifts them, and they don't have to worry about harming somebody else to do it. That clean. So when these people are busy growing, moving ahead, moving forward, and growing and choosing learning to make better choices and uplifting and easing their life, freeing themselves by making better moral choices rather than immoral choices, when you observe, most of the times, like I mentioned, again I'll focus on this before I go into the detail. The changes may not be in the physical, the way you see it obviously, but it will be on a spiritual soul level. That's again why the whole thing becomes tricky to take note of. But if you observe enough, you will see. So while this is happening on the positive side, the people with the demonic agendas and evilness and negativity, and they don't have the growth mindset in them. They would rather either be stuck or literally their whole life is about backwards. If you look, it's always about let me go and destroy something, and I won't even worry about consequences. And then when the consequences come, I go more backwards. When something worse happens or something catches up with their acts, they go backwards. Behaviorally, thinking wise, everything is backwards. There is no way for them to think or do better. It is in their essence, it is in their soul, so ingrained, and they are so used to it, they are so comfortable with it, they are in agreement with it, that the only way they can go is backwards, or they're happily stuck. There is no concept of growth on a real human level with them. It takes a little bit of observation to see it, but you will always end up seeing it. These people are monumentally stuck on dysfunctional, toxic, low level behavior and lifestyles, choices, mindsets, eternally, because they have never made an active choice to do anything other than that. It's automatic. Even in their sleep, even when they are unconscious or subconscious, even when they are casually going about the day without actively trying to do anything negative, they generate that negativity just by existing. Just like the positive people generate positivity as they go higher and higher by their existence, by their presence. It's the same. Just like a positive, nice person goes into lives and they are capable of uplifting in some way. The same way these negative people, toxic people, demonic, stuck people, wherever they go, they bring the same energy with them. They step into somewhere, it's chaos or drama or negativity, or they bring stagnation to life. Because stagnation is before death. So both are bad enough. Movement and growth forward is the only way to live. That's life. This is literal death, spiritual death, physical death, death. This is deprivation. The depravity is going down, uplifting is growth. So they make choices that end up making their lives stuck exactly where they are. Whatever they appear superficially or materially, doesn't matter. They are stuck. Or they end up doing the same stuff over and over and over, and that is stuck. Or they, even worse, when even there something happens, the only way they go is backwards. It has to be more deprivation, it has to be more destruction, it has to be more chaotic, it has to be more dramatic, it's always backwards. They make a mistake, then casually go do something, and then hurt and damage, and they think they are important and powerful. And then let's say they get caught, they get exposed, and they don't even think of it in that lines. They're like, oh, that entitled kid that you see, I would do whatever, whenever, and nothing happens to me, nothing will come back to me, and I'm entitled to the positive things, but I would never take the accountability when it comes to bad shit happening. Yeah, the same attitude. So they go backwards in the sense, it's all about more small, more worse choices, more horrible behaviors, more horrible choices. You look at their lives. The thing is, that is why all of them make fraudulent blood money, scamming people, theft, exploitation, all these crimes of all kinds, because they know the only way they can cover up and look good in society for all the nastiness that who they really are is by the wealth, is by the superficiality. Maybe they look attractive, maybe they look very charming, maybe they are wealthy, or maybe they use their high qualifications or positions or high degrees. It's a way of making up for it. It's not just insecurity. It is a cover. So people won't see exactly how backwards and stuck and rotten they really are if they go just beyond that surface of whatever layer they've covered and orchestrated a movie show in front of your eyes. If you go beyond that, you will see that everything about what they are, their existence, thinking to behavior to choices to everything, is always backwards. They do something, they have zero worries about consequences, because nobody within their cult, within their organization, within their families, within wherever the group of people they are associated with, they are all of the same kind. Nobody there ever talks about repercussions in any way at all, because all they are impressed whenever they are trying to steal from somebody is, wow, what would I get by stealing? What would I get by harming and attacking and taking away from them? What would I get? It's always about what would I get out of it that would make me look better on the surface. It's always that one goal. There is no other side of what if it goes wrong, or what happens if I get caught, or what happens because this is wrong, what happens someone good, because they're actively hurting somebody. So that concept of what happens if somebody else gets hurt, or what happens if damage happens, or what happens if I get caught, that things won't ever come into the picture. It's like, I'll pay off somebody, I'll do this, I'll do that. You see that attitude of that is backwardness. It has nothing to do with, oh, they can pay off and get away with it. There is nothing good or forward or powerful or important about it, actually. No, there is not. It's pathetic, cowardly behavior. And more pathetic, cowardly behavior has to be encouraged to cover up the original pathetic behavior. You see? So I'll get something, I want to get something, I'll go after this and I'll get something. Consequences, I'll put it on somebody, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll pay somebody. I don't have to worry about that. Something I will do to get away with it. It's okay. There's a lot of people who are exactly like me. We are all on the same level. So that environment in which they were brought up and trained and made to seem normal and be growing in, they grew up in, is always about this. Oh, if I do this, it's all about assignment, right? So if I do this, I get this. If I do this, I get. If I do that, I'll get that. If I take that, I'll get that. If I do this, it's all about what could I take from somebody, and zero interest in thinking about what would happen if it goes wrong or if something happens and all that, because it's always about backwards. Oh, who cares? I am a nobody, and the only thing I can do is take from somebody. So do something and then work 10 times harder to cover it up. Do something, work 100 times harder to cover up the tracks. Do something and then fail at it, and then go backwards in an obsessive, maniacal, controlling behavior, to go backwards and try to do something to manufacture something new or create more illusions or do more. And the same backwards behavior is about black magic also. Because it's all about how do I create illusions? How do I not make them see something as it is? How do I not make them see a lie for a truth and truth for a lie? How do I create almost a sheet of paper around them so some things will become invisible for them. Some things become visible for them. Some things pick more interest. It's all about control. See that obsessiveness. Imagine being that. It will never go right. It will never, because the whole behavior itself is built in such a way. It is always set up for failure because it has nothing good in it. So they go backwards and then, oh, I'll make up for this, I'll cover up for this, I'll create more illusions there, I'll cover up more there, I'll make it look like something, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do this. It's always about going back and trying to do something, going back and trying to do something, going back and trying to do something. It's not like if you stand here and you are in a place where you have done something and there is you didn't get what you want, or rather you got caught. So even if it is on a human level, it's not a compromised soul, a seared soul, they would come to a conclusion as to, okay, this is what has happened. So the only way is from here is I have to agree with the truth, and I have to take accountability for what my role is, and I have to take the consequences. There is no avoiding it. They are here and it is the truth. They live in reality, that's why. That's why all those dark people in the dark, they don't live in a real reality. Their reality is always distorted, demented. It's demented. It is stuck in some low level dark place. Because what did they do? Okay, I'll come back to it later. So this real person would stand there, fully accept the truth, own it, and see that they have done something, and take accountability and take the consequences for what they are, and go through with it. There is no trying to escape it, justify it, cover it up, manage it, manipulate it. There is no all this hangama you see there. No matter what emotions come into picture, no matter what it cost them because of that mistake, they might have lost something because they did that, yes. No matter what all that action has brought upon in their life, ultimately they will be in a place where they would accept it for what it is. They accept the truth, accept their role, take accountability, go through the consequences, accept that these consequences come with my actions, yes, go through with it, finish it, and by doing so with real heart, they've already made a commitment to themselves to not do it again. If they did it right, they would not do it again. They would not go anywhere near that, because they have now seen what damage it has caused, what pain it has caused, what the price they paid. and what it means to actually go through the consequences, and it's terrible. They see it for what it is, and so they make a choice to not go in that direction in the future. That's what it means to learn a lesson. If you learn a lesson, if you have the heart and mindset and the soul to have that willingness to learn a lesson and go forward, that is why you see life as a growth, or in a growth oriented mindset automatically, because you see the only way is forward. You see it clearly. Nobody has to say it. Even if someone has to say it, you would be in a position to see it. Oh yeah, it is actually pretty clear. The only way is forward. The only way to grow is to build, not destroy, not spoil what I already have. See? And they will go through with it, and whatever it is, whether they learn the lesson or not, or they have to go through it multiple times to even get a sense of this is not right and this is not how we should be living life and all that. But it's inadvertently they would go forward only. Life is in forward movement. Period. Now look at these assholes. Everything is about what do I get? Because the consequences, I'll find somebody to go through. When it comes to the negativity, it's gonna be somebody else to go through the consequence anyway. So it's not my job. I won't even think about it. I won't even have to. I'm the lord of all everything. The narcissist is automatic in them. Every single one of them. Oh, I walk with all that attitude and air to me. So pig-headed and so air-headed. I would always be like, I'll throw somebody under the bus. It's okay. So that itself sets them up for failure all the time, actually. Because the starting itself is on a fraudulent basis, the values are itself rotten, and then the intentions and motivations are fucked up, and then they go try to take something from somebody that's not even theirs. And no amount of justification or airheadedness and attitude or money or superficial, the sexy charmingness to the superficialness would make up for it at all. It doesn't matter. That's a fact. They are not even sensical enough or in touch with reality to tell themselves or to see when somebody tells it to them, to see that these things actually don't matter that much. That things that they are so working so hard to cover up and make up and push and create illusions are about. That's why they have to go through all that to make it look real, to make it look acceptable, to make it look like a truth. And they choose all this over just simply making the choices, go through the consequences, live with accountability, and grow and evolve and show real, true confidence. You don't even have to be airheaded. If you go through life with that, there is a real automatic confidence to it. But no. They are all backwards. They are all in touch with a different reality that is distorted and perverted, and it is not this reality. Definitely not. It is way beneath this reality that we are meant to experience here in the earth. So it's automatically backwards by default, because they never chose the forward ever. It's always either stuck and stagnant repetitive loops or literally going backwards. Go backwards. And it's all about control and obsession. Control and obsession, that itself is backwards. Real growth is not obsessive or controlling about anything. It's a totally different way of living. I won't say opposite. It's a totally different way of living life. Only those who went in that path and actually traveled will know what it is like. It is in no way anywhere close to that backward as distorted, broken reality that they constantly live in and try to make others victims around us so that they can keep feeding that false reality within themselves, and doing so creating that false reality in and around them and burdening and harming others in doing so. All for a false reality. All for backwards life. Backwards. You give whatever. All they do is either destroy it or dismantle it in such a way that's perverted in such a way. You give the purest thing to them. Doesn't matter. Because they will only handle it the way they handle it. Backwards. Because there is no respect for the basic law of consequences there. It's basic, it doesn't have to come from an intellectual place. That's why all these people in these cults and all these perverted organizations, they don't believe in God, the one true almighty God. They may use these words, but don't get fooled by that. And they don't believe in karma. Can you fucking believe it? Why? Because they have been so busy throwing that karma onto a scapegoat, onto a sacrificial lamb, onto somebody that takes their fall, that has no participation, no role, no awareness of what was going on, but they were always targeted to be that scapegoat. That scapegoat would be made a scapegoat and the sacrificial lamb when the time comes. Time comes when they get caught. They've been so used to that practice. And that practice itself is so distorted and perverted and mind-numbing if you think about it, and so twisted it is. That doesn't exist in this reality. This reality is pretty clear. It doesn't have to go through loops of so much of mindfuckery and manipulation and twisted words and twisted theories and twisted scientific jargon and twisted words and long sentences of essays just to explain that fucked up reality, which is never even a reality. It's never real. You have to twist and turn around so much of words and energy and things in your own head and mind and body and soul to make that distorted, perverted, deranged reality, even a false reality, a reality. And that's not even for a normal person. That's even for themselves. That's even for those in it. So that they don't even have to think about within their consciousness, karma and consequences and God should not even be there. They have to keep it as far away from their consciousness as possible. So they have to twist words, turn it around, print a different picture, paint a different, tell more lies on the more lies and discover fraudulent fake ass theories and tell they are scientific and important and researchers and talented intellectual, and use all these unnecessary words and jargon, use it to twist things around, twist it so much just to fit in and make it okay for themselves. Look at how mushy and messed up their minds are. That's what they project onto this world. That's why when they come to you trying to explain some BS, you will never feel okay with whatever they say. Because it is so twisted, and then they try to project it onto the people, onto this world. It is so deranged. They don't want you to see through it, but it is so deranged that you can't help but see it if you are in the truth. And this twistedness is used as an excuse or explanation or justification or stories or theories. The backwardness. Because see, first you have to do shit. Cruel, deranged, immoral, perverted shit. And then it's okay, I'll twist things around and mind, word and energy and everything around to make it look fit that theory, to make this look like it is okay. It's just a matter of twisting things around, right? So I'll do it, I'm used to it, it's okay. Because I don't believe in karma. I believe in it. That's why I am so worried about throwing it on somebody else. You see that? But they don't want to believe it in that sense, you see. They know it. That's why they are so busy trying to find a fall guy every time they commit a crime. Who do I pin it to? Who do I pin it to? Who do I frame it up? Who do I set up for? They know it. It's just that they don't want to think it is for them. You see how twisted it is. That whole idea. That's why they don't believe in karma and God in a normal sense. That's fucked up in itself. So they were like, I'll do something, and then I'll twist words around and find some kind of a story, excuse, justification, and twist words around and manipulate and everything. The gift of gab, or use my qualification as an excuse, or use my whatever it is as an excuse to go back and fit this fucked up thing into something real or acceptable or reasonable or rational, at least on the surface, to make it look reasonable or okay or acceptable or justifiable or excusable. And I'll twist my words around it. I'll twist my theories around. I'll twist the energy around. I'll twist everything around it. So that this would look okay. So that in the process of the confusion, I would be busy finding a scapegoat and I'll throw it on them. How deranged is that? You tell me. How ass backwards is that? Just so they won't have to take accountability, just so they don't have to go through the consequences, just so they don't have to go through the law of karma just as it is. I would bend the law, twist it. I would bend the energy, twist it. I would bend the words and twist it. Everything is about bending and twisting around for them, just to fit their perverted actions. As long as they could twist everything around, they will go backwards and make it look okay. They will go backwards and make it look okay. They will go backwards in their head. I'll go backwards and make it around something. Because all levels of manipulation is going on, right? So words, behavior, energy, everything. So I'll do everything to twist it around that to make it look certain way. Is that even a way of life? And they have fucking normalized it. It's not even a life. It's not even a real reality. It's not even normal. It's deranged and mentally deranged. It is here. It is gone. That's why you have to twist it around so much. Truth is about straightforward, clear, clarity. There is no room for confusion, bending, twisting it around and molding theories around anything. There is no need for all that. When truth comes into picture and it is shown or said in certain way, you can see it doesn't have to be that twisted and turned around and bend like a pretzel 100,000 times just to make it look a certain way. You don't have to. Why go through all the gymnastics, mental gymnastics? But that's what they do, and that's how they live. That's how it is there in their heads. And that is even for themselves. Imagine if they are trying to project it and convince some other person outside of them who is just trying to be normal. And these mental gymnastics they play on the other person. That's like ancient backwards. It's not even just backwards. Everything about their life is about as backwards. That's one thing, if you clearly notice, you would know they are demonic, they are evil, they have nothing to do with this reality, they are now human. And if you're smart and sane enough, you would just cut them out and walk away, and you preserve your sanity. That is why when they project their theories onto people, it's a mental torment. That is why they target the mind, because they know how fucked up they are inside. They know. And they project it onto you. Imagine the confusion, the mental torment, anxiety, kind of negativity, the kind of twistedness, the kind of confusion and fog they put on your mind. That is why when you come across these people, there is never anything clear. There are so many people who get headaches around these people automatically because of that. And they open their mouths, the way they start explaining things, they are so twisted around and so fucked up that you won't even want to be around them to listen to their words. You would rather run away. There are people who threw up in their presences because of all the fuckery they create in them, and that's how the gut reacts to their presence. It is so filthy. It is so twisted and tormented and bent out of shape just to make it look okay for them. And imagine that same filth they are projecting onto other people, either through their eyes, their minds, their words, their presence. It torments normal people like anything. That's how they create chaos around them. All they bring is confusion. Because that's how twisted they are inside their own mind and body and soul and head. And that is to justify to themselves of their own fucked up life. Imagine what it will look like when they start opening their mouths and start telling different stories just to fit in all their perverted lives and crimes, just to try to make it look okay for somebody who is sitting in front of them, and they are trying to make it look okay or justifiable. So backwards, you would see it. And it creates a kind of disgust in you. You would want to, in your spirit, you would want to run away from their presence because of how filthy the energy and the mind fuckery is. They can keep talking, but you would run away and you would not even look behind. I've been in such situations. That's why I'm explaining. There would be some people who are able to relate when I'm explaining this right now. It is going to be such an intense reaction in your body, in your mind, in your gut when these kind of energies are around you. Because that's how fucked up they are in their own minds and bodies and souls. And that's what they're trying to project onto others. Just with their presence or mind or words or eyes. Their touch. Everything about them is disgusting and ugly. And you would see it. It is so backwards. It is backwards. That is why it's ugly. Because it is not in this reality. It is not straightforward. It is not truth. It's just something very twisted to make themselves justify themselves that their existence, their pathetic existence is okay. And they want to convince other people that their pathetic existence is okay and acceptable. No, it's not. But the effort they try to make in living backwards is monumental. If only they put the same kind of effort in moving forward. But they would not. That's the thing. They made a choice. That's why they can't pretend they can make stories to look like it's illness or it's victimization, it's this. That's why I made that video. It's not an excuse. There is no excuse for that behavior. It is all an active choice. No matter how twisted they make it look like a mental illness or whatever, it's not. They made a choice. That is why they are there, and that is why they live lives like that. That is why they make choices like that. Their behaviors are like that. Their lifestyles are like that. It's a choice. No amount of twisting around by the fake scientific world would make it okay. Would make it look like they are the victim or they are just a product of abuse or trauma. If you want to put on the tag of abuse and trauma and make it as a medal, you can make me put on the pedestal there, because nobody would have gone through anything more than me. No. And yet where I am, who I am, where I stand at. That's why I said the justifications. That is why they introduced all these systems around you to justify it to themselves first, and then justify and brainwash other people. It's never okay. It will never be okay. It's just they made their choices and they refuse to make different choices. And so now their business is about convincing the entire world that their fucked up choices are okay and that the rest of the world should be okay with it. That's their agenda. It's not okay. Don't ever accept it to be okay. Don't ever let them manipulate you or brainwash you or twist things around to make it look like it is okay. It's never okay. They made their choices. They don't want to make a different choice. And for that reason, they want to keep the entire world stuck and stagnant and go backwards just like they do. Go ass backwards. There's nothing backwards. It's only about destruction and spoil and ruin. And the only way forward in life is growth. Forward and onward and upwards. Yeah. And anybody who's not choosing that actively, regularly, on an everyday, day-to-day basis, they are already making themselves visible to you. Make a choice to walk away from them. If not physically, you know how to walk away mentally and emotionally. That's the most important thing to walk away from before you can even physically walk away. The real power is in fully detaching yourself from them physically and emotionally, and otherwise first spiritually. Yeah. Because what's the point if you physically remove yourself from them, but emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, you're still not able to? Not worth it, right? So on all levels you should remove, but these levels are much, much more important than then you, when you're able, you can physically remove yourself from there. But on all levels you have to be able to remove from them permanently, because you've seen it. You've seen the backwardness. Backwardness is the black hole. Stuck, stagnant, breaking down, spoil, destruction, ruin, death, depravity. There's nothing there. That's why it has to go backwards and pretend like even that they do it in even as a spiritual sense. When I say it's not just about magic, I'll give one last example. So they try to keep covering up for what they did. That's what they're doing with me. And everything is being exposed monumentally on a day-to-day basis. Exponential evidence is coming out, and they're like, oh no, how do I manage the timeline? How do I manipulate the timeline? How do I make things go backwards so that from there I can fix it? From there I can make sure that she won't even come to this point where she is exposing us now. Where do I go backwards into the timeline where she is not even here? See that? That's what I keep saying when I say ass backwards and obsessive control. It's never normal. It's all demonic and evil, and it's all about breaking down and spoiling and ruining. There is no room for growth. The concept of growth and life is not there. There is no concept of moving forward and growing and life there. These three words has no space there at all. I would go as much backwards as possible so that this would even not happen. As it has already happened, I would now go back and try and prevent it. Like, what the fuck? This is the mental derangement they live on day-to-day basis. Day-to-day basis. And that's the mind effery they try to project and throw onto this world, onto innocent people. It's mental brokenness, which they chose. It's that backwards. It's that ugly and dirty on so many levels. But you could see now. You could see it and make your choices. Backwards and onwards. Life and death. Growth and stagnation. True opposites. Truth and evil. Morality and immorality. That's how ass backwards that is.